Whoa, this is different, loud. It's November 12th. It's about 5:03. Janet, can you take roll, please? Cuando quiera, Janet.
Trustee Real, Trustee Ortega, and Trustee Ciro Calderon, with Trustee Ortega and Trustee Lorenzo Calderon.
Zuno.
Trustee Zuno and Trustee Lorenzo Calderon absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Janet. Mr. Taylor, would you lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. That was item A1 and A2. Item B, public comments. Do we have any public comments before we start?
No, we have
For
open session.
perfect. Item C, announcement of convening into closed session. Mr. Weiler.
We are now going to go, the board is now going to go into closed session to discuss those items listed in the agenda in Part D, and we'll return to reconvene at approximately 6 o'clock.
Thank you. So at this time, we will be going into closed session. Thank you. Hello. Okay, we're going to start our meeting. To continue our meeting, we're coming back from closed session. It's about 6:15, November 12th. There were no actions, Mr. Weiler, there were no actions taken in closed session, right?
That's correct. No actions to report.
No actions to report in closed session. Item G, that was item F. No announcement of actions taken in closed session. Item G, presentations. Item G1, student representatives. Maria. What?
Yes, good evening. Welcome, trustees, and welcome, community. We're going to begin with the student representative from Aurora High School, Ms. Ruth Ruiz. Or are you not Ruth?
No, it's Emily Medina.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm the representative from Aurora High School, and sorry. Good afternoon, board meeting and parents. I'm the representative for Aurora High School today. My name is Emily Medina, and previously we have had activities and they have been very well. For this upcoming month, we will have a blood drive on December 3rd. We participated in the 2 and 2 safe driving video. Since we didn't make it to the top 100, the students who participated will get rewarded with a gift card from State Farm. We want to check for $2,000 grand from Walmart. It has been deposited today. And congratulations to Mr. Cardenas, our best Aurora Proctor for Employee of the Month.
From Calexico High School's main campus, Iran Martinez.
Good afternoon. My name is Iran Martinez, and I am Calexico High School Public Relations. This month in ASB, it's been a relaxing month for us, but we are supporting our sports team like volleyball and tennis. We are having our food drive, which ends this Friday, which is tomorrow, and we have been promoting the Calexico Police Department contest for the SEAL, and that's what we have been doing this month. Okay, thank you.
For our 9th grade campus at Calexico High School, Gabriel Aguilar.
Sorry.
Good evening, board members, teachers, parents, and fellow students. During the month of October, we are proud to announce many non-perishable food items were donated for the Valley-wide food bowl competition paired with burgers and beer. Also, the 9th grade campus held an I Think Big Assembly hosted by Chad Furlong. Many students learned to aid other students struggling with their day-to-day life and to never give up their dream, even if they have felt that they have hit rock bottom. To increase the positivity and spirit at our campus, ASB leadership hosted multi-block contests where students dressed in the attire relating to the topic set. Our main day of the week was Wednesday. Many students wore pink to support patients with breast cancer and to honor all survivors. Campus 9 has organized a canned food competition. All period 4 classes will compete for a prize provided by ASB leadership, which will be a small treat. All donations will be given to needy families in the Calexico area. Lastly, all freshman fall sports have ended with incredible spirit, and our winter sports have now started conditioning and tryouts. They consist of boys and girls basketball, boys and girls wrestling, and boys and girls soccer. Thank you for your time and consideration. Have a wonderful night.
For Enrique Camarena, we have Julissa Ceseña.
Good afternoon, board members, administrators, teachers, parents, and fellow students. We recently celebrated Red Ribbon Week on our campus. There was a great deal of participation in Spirit Week, and students were treated to a couple of assemblies on Thursday of that week. First, ASB hosted the I Think Big Assembly in the cafeteria, while administration, the counseling department, and Ms. Alonso Garza offered students an assembly with presenters from a variety of official agencies, such as Border Patrol, MAG Coalition, and the FBI. We also had a successful fall carnival to help celebrate the end of this meaningful week on campus. ASB leadership would like to thank all staff and parents who helped make this possible. Next week, we will be hosting our 10th annual turkey run. The Calexico High School cross-country team coordinates this event every year, and we are grateful to Mr. Rojas and his runners who helped bring this wonderful opportunity to our campus. ASB leadership will also be involved in a community service project next week. We are annually invited to help the city of Calexico prepare and decorate the city's holiday decor. This is a wonderful opportunity for student leaders to give back to our community. We are also in our second week of our annual canned food drive, and we expect this to be a successful event school-wide. Thank you.
And for Willie Moreno, we have Johnny Valenzuela.
Good evening. We are excited to let you know that we had Ms. Arlanos and Mrs. Lopez's Spanish 3 classes present on Dia de los Maestros. Students were able to find out cultural information about the holiday and view altars made by students. Aztec ASB is currently collecting canned food to donate to Las Ormas de Jesus. We are hoping to make a large donation before we leave for Thanksgiving break. Our fall sports season has concluded. For many students, this was the first time participating in these sports at Willie Moreno. They were excited to compete with other schools and are looking forward for the upcoming winter sports. ASB is also getting ready for our annual Gobble Gobble games, and including a student-teacher volleyball game and an academic decathlon. We are very excited as this is our first year having an academic decathlon. It will also be modeled after our math competition. We are also eager to have the turkey run and see who will win those turkeys. We will have 2 8th grade winners and 2 7th grade winners. Hope you all have an amazing Thanksgiving. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so before we continue, si hay algunas personas que ocupan traducción, aquí afuera tenemos los audífonos que pueden recibir para poder escuchar los comentarios bajo traducción. Así para quien ocupe, ahí hay audífonos afuera y tenemos el servicio de traducción disponible. So we're going to now continue with the Student of the Month recognitions. So we'll start with Aurora High School students.
Test.
So for Aurora High School, the first student is Belen Hernandez.
Belén Hernandez describes herself as a nice and polite person. Her parents motivate her for her future. A person she looks up to is her dad because he works hard for her to have the best in life. She wants to be a social worker as a career.
Where's your mom?
Congratulations, Belen. The second student to be recognized this evening for Aurora High School is Victor Velasquez.
Victor Velasquez describes himself as a caring person. The thing that motivates him is his family and his friends. And the person he looks up to is his cousin Ricardo because he graduated with a master's degree as an engineer for his career. He has two options to think about, and those options are to be a science teacher or an animator.
Congratulations to our Aurora High School students. Now for Calexico High School, we have from the main campus, Diana Alvarado.
Diana Alvarado is a 12th grader and has a 4.33 GPA. She would like to thank her family for always supporting her decisions in school, and she would like to thank her teachers for motivating her to do well in school and pursue her dreams. This is her third year in ASB. Last year, she was public relations, and this year is the vice president. It is her second year of planning and organizing school pep rallies. She is varsity cheer captain, and she is an attorney for the CHS mock trial club team, and she is also the spirit officer for the Agario Club. After high school, she plans to attend either UC Berkeley or UC Davis to major in political science. She wishes to go to law school and after to become a corporate attorney. Advice she would give to her younger self is to never doubt yourself. Believe in your dreams even if no one believes in you. Always work harder than you should because in the long road, every life struggle will be worth the while. And let no one tell you otherwise.
Congratulations, Diana. And for Calexico High School main campus, Fausto Baca.
How's your mom? There we go.
Is a 12th grader
And your
and has
dad?
a 4.37 GPA. She would like to thank her.
It's on.
No, tap. Okay, you're good.
Hello. Okay. He would like to thank his parents for keeping up with him, and he would like to thank them for the priority in his schedule and for encouraging him to follow his dreams. Some extracurricular activities he's involved in are FHA Hero, MESA, APYL, Eco Garden, and the Candy Striper Volunteer Program at ECRMC. He feels like all of these programs have helped him to grow as an individual in preparation for an independent life. His plans after high school are to study at either Chicago or at Berkeley. He plans to major in astrophysics and study in the field here in the United States. Advice he would give to his younger self is to make sure to study the more advanced concepts because you need to be ready for life outside of this valley. This world is made up of the smart and the smartest. Never think too highly of yourself.
And continuing with Calexico High School recognitions, we have Araceli Ledesma from the 9th grade campus.
Araceli's parents are Enriqueta Ledesma and Carlos Ledesma. Her favorite subject at the 9th grade campus is English and literature because she enjoys reading and writing. She plans on attending Stanford Law because it is one of the best law schools in the nation. Araceli's plans on majoring in the field of law enforcement to defend the right and fight injustice. If she could change something in this world, she would eliminate drugs throughout the world because she can't stand all those people suffering. Congratulations. And also to add, she is a second-time recipient of the District Student of the Month.
And also from the 9th grade, Eric Jarero Aguilar.
Eric's father is Eric Jarero and his mother is Nilda Aguilar. His most preferred course at the 9th grade campus is English because his educator, Mr. Taylor, teaches in many unique styles. Eric plans on attending UCLA because it's close to home. He plans on majoring in aerospace engineering because he dreams of being an employer at NASA. If he could change something in this world, he would grant each homeless person a shelter to live and a source of income to stress less. Congratulations, Eric. Eric Jarero Aguilar is also a second-time recipient of the District Student of the Month. Congratulations.
Thank you to Calexico High School. From Enrique Camarena, our first person to be recognized is Franca Eliseche.
Read it anyways.
Franca Eliseche is an 8th grader and the daughter of Francisco and Janet Eliseche. Her hobbies include playing basketball and reading, with her favorite subject in school being literature. When she graduates, Franca would like to go to UC Davis to study to become a veterinarian. Franca would like to thank her parents, her teachers, and her friends because they encourage her to do her best in all of her work.
And the second person to be recognized this evening from Enrique Camarena is Brian Angulo.
Brian Angulo is the son of Rosaura Ortiz and Antonio Angulo. His number one hobby is to play sports and his favorite school subject is math. When Brian graduates, he would like to go to both university and college and get both degrees in medical school to one day become a surgeon. Brian would like to thank his parents because they are the ones who encourage him to do his best and they lead him on the right path. Congratulations.
Thank you to Enrique Camarena. Now from Willie Moreno, we have Emily Perez.
Where's your mom? Emily, where's your mom? Or your dad?
Our 7th grade District Student of the Month is Emily Perez. She's the daughter of Angelia Valenzuela and Julio Perez, and siblings of Natalie, Leslie, and Jacob. Emily's favorite subject is literature and writing. Besides maintaining her 4.0 GPA, Emily enjoys listening to pop music, eating spaghetti, and anything that is light blue. She would love to visit Hawaii, Paris, and Greece. Emily wishes to study at Harvard or Stanford and is undecided on what she will be when she grows up. Although she's interested in education or becoming a surgeon, the Aztecs hope that all of Emily's dreams come true.
She already took it.
And the final student recognized this evening is Andres Alcalá Ponce.
Andres Alcala Ponce is Willie Moreno's District Student of the Month. Andres is the son of Cristina Ponce and Adrian Alcala, and he has one brother, Adrian. Andres' favorite subject is language arts. Blue is his favorite color, and he enjoys eating pizza. His dream car is a Ferrari, and he wishes to visit Spain one day. One interesting fact about Andres is that he doesn't really listen to music. Andres is into his grades, and he hopes to maintain his 4.0 GPA all year because he doesn't want to be on the honor roll list. Andres' role models are his parents. He wishes to study at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh and becoming a software developer. The Aztecs wish him much luck in his future endeavors.
And now we're going to recognize our employees of the month. We're going to begin with Raúl Cárdenas from Aurora High School.
Good evening, board members and members of the audience. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our campus security, and Raúl Cárdenas, former Marine, hoorah, has been at Aurora High School for 20 years, providing proactive security and safety for our students. When there is things that need to be done at Aurora High School, Raúl is quick to volunteer and help out in any way, shape, or form. For our back-to-school night and our open house, we cook hot dogs, and he's right there grilling the dogs and making sure that everyone has a full belly. So please join me in welcoming and congratulating Raúl Cárdenas.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And Mr. Moreno, just for the record, there's no such thing as a former Marine.
I know.
Okay? Thank you.
Once, always.
Exactly.
And from Calexico High School, do we have Mrs. Williams here?
She's outside.
Okay. We have Rosario Vega from Calexico High School being recognized this evening. Okay. For Rosario Vega.
Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize. Ms. Vega, is she here? I hope so. Oh, Ms. Vega, Ms. Rosario Vega. When I think of Ms. Vega, I think of, and I know it's the theme right now, of a Star Wars trooper, because she really is a trooper. Troopers in Star Wars are the main force for the Galactic Empire, and Ms. Vega is the main force to our student services and our discipline program, our attendance program. I met Ms. Vega 5 years ago, the year that our ninth graders were relocated to our current ninth grade campus. She was a trooper back then, a team player for everything that we were trying to accomplish during our first year at the ninth grade, back then by ninth grade academy. I continued to work with her for the following 2 years, and currently she offers the ultimate support to administration, to students and staff. She's also the ultimate professional when handling confidential student issues and any challenges. And again, this year is no exceptions. For many years, supporting what is the old De Anza campus, then the ninth grade academy, now the ninth grade campus, Calexico High School. This year, she agreed to move away from her home site to the main campus. And although she hesitated, I know that she now absolutely loves it, and we love her. And on behalf of all the students and staff and parents and administration that has worked with her for so many years, I want to thank Ms. Rosario Vega for her support and much deserved recognition. Thank you.
Thank you. For Cesar Chavez, we have Jorge Garcia. Is Mr. Santos here?
Good evening, Superintendent Ambriz, distinguished board. Today I'd like to present, or I have the pleasure of presenting and introducing Mr. Jorge Garcia. He is Cesar Chavez Site Operations Worker 2. Mr. Garcia has been working for the district, faithfully working for the district for over 17 years. And he first started working out at Adult Ed. And from there, he transferred over to Blanche Charles, and then from there, he worked at Rockwood Elementary, and where he became a senior custodian. After that, he was transferred over to Enrique Camarena, which was in its inception when it first started, and that's where I met Mr. Garcia for the first time. And from there, he transferred over to what was known as De Anza Ninth Grade Academy, but now it's Calexico High School Ninth Grade. And then, of course, now he is at Cesar Chavez, being the professional that he is. Now, one of the things that I would like to share with the board is that I kind of feel that I'm following him around. First, he's at Camarena, then next thing you know, he's at the ninth grade, and sure enough, the only person that welcomed me with open arms was Mr. Garcia. And he has been a pleasure to work with. He is the person I count on the most. He is a professional, he's dedicated, but above all, he is a true gentleman. He is well and truly deserving of this honor. So to the board and to Mr. Garcia, congratulations. I want to thank you, and I'd like to thank the board for giving me this opportunity to present the board.
For Jefferson School, we have Cynthia Martinez. Is Mr. Aviña here? Yes, he is.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and community members. It is my pleasure to introduce my nominee for Employee of the Month, Cynthia Abby Martinez. Mrs. Martinez is our school psychologist. She is a Calexico graduate, class of 2000, and I just found out today that she was a student at Jefferson Elementary. I can count on Ms. Martinez 100% of the time, even though she's at our school only 2 days out of the week. Ms. Martinez goes above and beyond to help our students and parents. For example, Ms. Martinez has conducted counseling sessions at parents' homes after her day is over, has had parent meetings on Sundays at school, and will squeeze in the time in her very busy schedule to counsel students in need at any time. Besides being an exceptional school psychologist, she communicates well with parents, students, and school staff. Parents have expressed to me how grateful they are to Ms. Martinez for helping their children with their individual problems. Although Ms. Martinez has been at Jefferson for about a year and a half, it feels like she has been part of the Jefferson family for years. Thank you, Ms. Martinez, for everything you do for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. And to round up employee recognitions for this month, we have one of our school site principals, Ms. Siria Hurtado. I think Siria's in the hallway as well. So I will go ahead and read her biography. Oh, there she is. Mrs. Hurtado. Mrs. Hurtado is in her second year as principal at Blanche Charles Elementary, and she came from the classroom at Jefferson School, where she had been a classroom teacher there for several years. And we knew that when we had a vacancy, that what we needed to do was get someone who had children always in mind, number one, and number two, making sure that their colleagues are always taken care of and always holds the best interests of the district and the school sites at heart. So when you embody all of those qualifications, Mrs. Ciria Hurtado definitely possesses each one. But most of all, the love that she has for her children and for her school site is tremendous, and she's there very early in the morning, very late at night. She and I have long conversations about our wonderful working hours, but congratulations, Ms. Hurtado, you very well deserved.
Pues decídanse, pues. Sí, así.
So that will round up all of our recognitions for this evening.
Cesar Chavez? No. That's it.
Are we going to take a break? So we will probably take about a 10-minute recess. We have cake out in the lobby in honor of all of our students and employee recognition. So take about 10 minutes to get a cup of coffee and a piece of cake, and we'll resume at 6:50?
6:50, yes.
6:50. 6:55.
From our break. And before we continue, I would like, it's November, and I would like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, since we're not going to have a meeting. We only have one meeting in November, and also a personal congratulations to all those military and ex-military members. They have served our country. It is a very special day that we celebrated yesterday in my case, for my fellow veterans. So congratulations to all of you if you have served. Thank you. Okay, we are going to continue. What are we? Okay, back from our break. Item H, comments from the public. The board will take any and all comments from the public related to an item on the agenda or any other item of district business that is not on the agenda. I have two for the pool naming. Do you want to wait until the pool naming, or do you want to do it right now? Okay? Right now? It's up to you. Do you want to wait until the item comes up? Yes, you can do the comments now if you want to. Well, I'm asking the person that in this case is Laura Sierra. Okay? Go ahead if you want to do it now.
Good evening, board members and teachers and parents. I am Laura Sierra, and I won the competition for the pool naming. About a week ago, I don't know, like about 2 weeks ago, I saw a headline in the newspaper that they were going to decide the name of the name of the pool, and I was like, well, I won the pool naming, so I thought that was going to be the name. So I thought it was unfair that they were going to change the name. I didn't know they just wanted to add to it. For me, I think it's fine if they add to it. Like, I don't really have a problem with that. I just would think it's unfair for someone to change the name completely because, I mean, I want a name. I don't know. I'm sorry. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. And next on the item is Cristina Costa.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that will be.
I'm sorry. I put her name and my name at the same,
No, there's only one.
oh, I should have put my name too?
Yes, you need to put, but go ahead. If you wish to speak on the item, go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
In 3 minutes.
Good afternoon,
State
board
your name.
members. My
State-
name is Imelda Sierra, and I just want to add, about the pool name that we recently heard on the news, on the newspaper, about the possibility of making a change on the name of Calexico's pool. That is why we felt it was very important to give our opinion on this situation. There was a formal invitation for a main portion of the community of Calexico. The call was made to all parents that had children between the grades of kinder and 12th grade. This was also done in 3 ways. They gave a student flyer, a second, this is the first process. Then there was a dialer for all parents with children in school from kinder through 12th grade, and also the invitation was shown in the district website for the time this invitation took place. Now, I understand that Mrs. Necochea did a lot of good things for Calexico community, and I know that she also worked in the libraries and on behalf of a youth, which it makes me understand that Mrs. Necochea couldn't mind, or she probably would be happy that the name of the pool was proposed by a student. The name Bulldogs Aquatic Center is a very generic name which may symbolize a familiar atmosphere for the Calexico community, because I am sure that in every Calexico's home there is at least a person that someday was a bulldog, which is always a bulldog, a person that actually is a bulldog, and a person that will be a bulldog in the coming years. That's it.
Thank you. And on this item as well, Cristina Costa.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Cristina Costa, and I'm actually here also to speak on behalf of the naming of the pool. And I'm actually very glad and honored that this young lady and her parent showed up today, because I wanted to begin by first addressing the board and saying that I do believe that they need to honor this young lady for winning the contest of naming the pool. The contest had very specific rules. I'm not going to go over the rules again. I think her mom did an excellent job. It was very specific in the naming of the pool that there was not going to be any personal names that were going to be used. And I do believe that the district and the school board, you definitely need to take into consideration. You need to honor her. She abided by the rules. She won. Her suggestion or her name was voted on. It was agreed upon. She won. What are we teaching our students? You have a contest. You're, engaging them, wanting them to participate, and now you're going to take her creativity, what she put into this, and just throw it out the window. And I also do agree with her. So that needs to be acknowledged, and the board really needs to stand by that contest. She won, and she deserves for the name that she gave it to be the name that the pool is given. Second, her mom is also right. I would agree that Mr. Necochea also, she gave her service to the school district, and she was all about the students, and I do also think she would be very pleased, and I do know that, students came first for her. So I really will implore the school district. That was my first thought coming here tonight, was to encourage the board to stick to that decision. However, I also noticed that there was this issue of opening it up, naming it for other families per se. So with that being, and I don't want to get too much into that, but I do want the board to, if they are not going to honor this young lady, which they should, first and foremost. But if you choose not to do that for whatever reasons, maybe being political, not sure, then I would like to also put my family's name out there, which is the Alvarado family name, for all their years of service. The Alvarado family has over 107 years of combined service to the school district. My grandparents were, we ran the school, the Calexico pool swimming recreation program. So I think if we're going to throw names into it, I would like that name to be considered as well. However, that is not what is important. What is important is what this young lady stated tonight. She participated in the contest, she won the contest, and I think the name that she came up with is a perfect name, and that is what it should be named. So I really do implore the school board to take that into consideration, and I think that that's what it needs to be named. You need to leave everything else out of it. I'm sure everybody involved would be happy and proud. And I, as an educator and also a community of this member, feel that she deserves to have her name be the name of the pool. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. De Necochea, would you like at this point to present? So,
Microphone on. Good evening, honorable board and audience here. Our family, the Necocheas, are also pioneer family of Calexico.
Mr. De
And 7 of
Necochea,
us.
Mr. De Necochea, you need to state your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gordy de Necochea, my sister Michelle de Necochea, Chachita, Margarita, Fernando de Necochea. We're all born and raised in Calexico, and we're here, and we're very proud to be here and see all the honoring that's going on to the students, because that's what it's all about. We agree with that. And to us, it came as a big surprise. And the only thing we're doing here tonight is, at the October 22nd meeting, we proposed a solution that we thought was honorable, because knowing that the previous board, and we wanted to respect the actions of the previous board, and in fact, we brought a video tonight. It's only 4 minutes. And you can see that the previous board took actions, the initial actions for the pool, and that included architectural drawings, financing, things about going after money, and they named the pool for Margarita Necochea back in 2011. And we wanted to respect the integrity of that board, but we also want to respect the integrity of the current board, and we want to respect and honor what this board did as far as having the contest and honoring the student that came up with a winning name, which we all recognize as Bulldog Aquatic Center. And so what we proposed basically back October 22nd, well, why can't we have both names? Pardon? Yeah. Why can't we have both names, Margarita and Bulldog Aquatic Center? And that would be, I think, something that you're honoring a woman, as was said, that worked 27 years at the high school. But it was more than that, because the pool basically, and maybe people don't recognize this, it's a community pool. It's a public pool. It's not a high school pool. And the community has different high schools, different mascots, as you all know. And this community pool, and Margarita was about the community, the betterment of the community, and you probably know all these stories about her because they wanted to demolish the Carnegie Library by City Hall. She was responsible for not having it torn down and built up, the kiosk in the park. She was all over the place. She was an activist, always in the newspaper, and president of the library board for the city for many, many years, trustee to San Diego State, involved with scholarships for kids, visiting families, encouraging to finish high school, go to college. So I think that any of us would be here as we are to honor your mother. So we're only here because we felt that when this came up, it was news to us, and we immediately came down and we said, well, we have to honor the student. That's very important, and as the woman just said, my mother would be the first one to say that too. And And that was her legacy, kids. And so
So we'd like to show this little clip. We were honored when our mother was chosen. Everybody told us about the pool. It was in the newspaper. So excited. Such an honor. And so we'd like to run the video that's very quick. Start now.
Oh.
This is the old board.
Next item is pool project by Mr. Sanders.
she's on the front row here.
Thank you for the opportunity to present the Margaret de Necochea swimming pool complex project tonight.
And it's Margarita. ¿Quedó? Margarita de Necochea. What? Well, if you want to get technical, yeah.
I hope I've got the spelling wrong then. Okay.
The first name. The first name.
Right, because at one point we had it at Margarita, and then
We had it come together.
You had the Necochea together.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll get that fixed.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay, we're going to start off with the presentations. We have our first presentation by Mr. Jim Sanders for the Joint Powers Venture on the pool. The City of Calexico, together with the Calexico Unified School District, joint venture to rebuild our pool that we lost in the 2010 earthquake.
Thank you for the opportunity tonight to present the scope of work for the proposed Margarita de Necochea swimming pool complex for to replace the existing pool facility at Calexico High School that we all know was closed due to the earthquake damage. What we'd like to present here tonight.
Raul Martinez, Calexico Unified. We have the architectural renditions, I'm sorry, excuse me. As far as for the swimming pool, the Margarita de Necochea swimming pool for Calexico Unified School District. In regards to it, the committee met about a week ago.
The rec, I think it's, yeah, I think it's going to be 8 feet, but this is what will be for the general public. They will be using this one, but they must know how to swim because there's no...
Good evening. Welcome to our special board meeting. It is August 10th, 2015. It's approximately 4:03 p.m. We're going to call our meeting to order by taking roll. Ms. Burgos.
Trustees present this afternoon are Trustee Real, Trustee Lorenzo Calderon Jr., Trustee Ciro Calderon, Trustee Ortega, and Trustee Zuno. You have a full quorum.
Thank you. Item 2, the approval of bid recommendation for pool construction services.
I'll move to approve.
So what you're seeing is all the architect's plans that have the pool name.
Margarita de Necochea swimming pool complex project tonight. Margarita de Necochea swimming pool complex.
Margarita de Necochea swimming pool for Calexico Unified School District.
Anyway, we want to thank the board. We want to honor the new board. We think the student contest was successful. We take our hats off. We think it's a wonderful name. We'd love to honor our mother as well and honor the old board and combine the two names for the Margarita de Necochea Bulldog Aquatic Center. And we thank you for your time.
And we very much would like the board to invite the family and have them be the main people at the groundbreaking of the pool, because we all know that there's a hole there. The pool is being built. The most important thing about it is that Calexico hasn't had a pool since the earthquake 2010. And so I think the community at large should be very, very proud, that finally, the city has come through. It's something like $4.4 million. The state of California, Department of Parks and Rec, has come through with Senator Ben Wesso's $2.7 million. They have federal money, $400,000 from FEMA. But it's all come together, $7.5 million budget. And it's being built. It's real. And having said that, know that our family is very committed to Calexico. I was on the Bulldog Centennial. We come back. We have our grandparents, our parents, our family, everybody's out at Mountain View Cemetery, and you better believe all alumni of Calexico come back to honor their families. And we're having our family, 2 educators, my brother Fernando, University of California, Santa Barbara, Center for Chicano Studies, he was the director. He was assistant provost at Stanford University, he's an educator. And I have a sister from UCLA. But we're with you, and I hope that the board will consider our proposal of naming the pool both for the student name and our mother. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Denecochea family. At this point, I also would like to ask Sean Johnson to the podium under Calexico football.
Good evening. My name is Sean Johnson. I'm the head football coach at Calexico High School. Before the season started, I came and introduced myself to everybody and let them know what I was about and what I wanted to produce here. And nothing short of a miracle. The district has been so supportive of the team. The radio show, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Carrillo, Mrs. Williams, our principal, our amazing support from our booster club, Mrs. Ayon is here. And everything I went and spoke to our superintendent, she was more than willing to help us out with. We had a very young team this year. But one thing I can say, our team fought. We never gave up. Maybe the scoreboard didn't show it, but they fought all the way through. And that's all a coach can ask from a team. We're only losing 10 seniors, and only 5 of those seniors were starters. So you have that whole nucleus coming back. And what I ask is that you continue to give us that support. There's going to be a lot of proposals that is going to be brought to you, and hopefully you'll be able to okay some of that to make the next season more successful. We're going to start an off-season program, which is something that is needed. If you notice, our team was very small compared to other teams, which is where a weight room and having an off-season program will make us more competitive, and that's more something that we're looking to dedicate more this year, along with revamping the staff that we have. But again, I was taught to show gratitude, and I stand here head held high, showing gratitude for all the amazing support that you have given us, and hopefully it continues, and look forward to changing that scoreboard this year. And thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay. Any more comments? Okay. We'll continue with our agenda. Item I, consent agenda. All items appearing will acted upon by one motion without discussion. Is there a motion to approve item I? Microphones. I'll make the motion to approve item I. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. Any further questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor are Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. And for the record, Ms. Zuno arrived at 7:10. That was item I. Item J, information items. Item J1, superintendent's report.
Good evening. My report will be very brief tonight. I don't have an extensive report to give to the board. We did have a pool committee meeting this week. It was rather interesting, but what it did serve to do this week was to provide a estimated time of completion for this pool project, which should be late May, early June of 2016. Assuming that we stay on track with all of our pool building activities. We did have a small snafu this week where there was a pipe break at Calexico High School on the premises of where the pool facility is being built. Thankfully, it was late in the afternoon, right before the constructors left, and our staff, the city staff, and the construction staff were able to take care of the situation and avoid a major what could have been a major disaster and a major delay in our pool project. So one of the things that I urge the pool committee to do is to stay on track, stay on task, because the reality is any further dissensions on this matter only serve to delay the pool construction. We have kept our community waiting long enough for this pool, and we want it to be done by next June. And all of the people that were in attendance in this pool committee, that's the one thing we all agree upon, that we want the pool ready for next June. It's long overdue, and we want that to come to fruition. And I did encourage everybody to leave the egos at the door, and hopefully we can continue to work together and work forward, because quite frankly, this pool project is long overdue. Volleyball just won the second round of CIF. So congratulations, Lady Bulldogs. I'll be very frank with you, I was hoping that the volleyball match would be tomorrow and not today. However, our girls won their match on Tuesday night, Miss Janet. They swept the school that they were playing on Tuesday night. It was a great game. I was able to catch a couple of those matches. And they were waiting to find out who their opponent was. And would it be San Diego Jewish Academy, or would it be Calipatria High School? I was hoping for Calipatria High School. Number one is because I have a soft spot for Calipat High. I started my career there. And number two, because it meant that we would not be here, we'd be watching the game on Friday night at Calexico High School's gym. Unfortunately, the San Diego Academy won, and because there is a Jewish holiday for them, they needed to have the match today. But our volleyball team won, so we move on. So congratulations to our Lady Bulldogs. I know that our tennis team was also in San Diego. I don't know what the outcome was, and so hopefully something good has come out of there as well. So as going back to the pool, we're hoping that everything continues to march forward. Just happy Veterans Day to everyone. Thank you to all who serve, to all who have served. And, our country wouldn't be what it would, we wouldn't be able to do what we do if it weren't for the service of our military. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ambriz. That was item J1. Item J2, association comments. And if we're going by alphabetical order, ACT.
Good evening, trustees, members of the district, teachers, members of the public, students. I've stood here at this podium for many reasons, but tonight I'm here for a new reason. I'm here to try and save you a bunch of money, and I'm not selling car insurance. Okay. No, you see, at midnight on Halloween, and I know that sounds creepy, but On midnight on Halloween, a contract the district held with a certain vendor expired. That contract was for the Northwest Evaluation Administration's MAP test, and it is a contract that cost the district over $100,000 for a year's worth of, I don't even know what. Personally, I'm not really sure what we got for our money as a district. I know that for me as a teacher, I didn't gain a single thing. I did lose something, though. I lost 12 days of instruction with my students. I lost a sense of continuity within my classroom, and I lost some hair, some more hair, when I was pulling it out of my head trying to answer a question a student had about what his MAP score meant about him, because I couldn't have an answer for him. In California right now, we're experiencing a positive trend in education that takes us away from standardized tests. The old CSTs, those awful tests that punished our students, our teachers, and our school district for not being able to force our students to memorize the right information, have been thrown out. The CASE, that awful test that denied diplomas to students even though they had done all of the work required of them, has been thrown out too. As a matter of fact, and I'm sure you know this, but our governor went so far as to demand that those same students who didn't pass that test be given the diplomas they rightfully deserve. And if that doesn't tell you the direction our great state is going in when it comes to standardized tests, I don't know what does. So the question I've been asking myself, and I know the question many other teachers have been asking themselves, is why did our district choose to impose another standardized test on our students? Why did we choose to mimic the old days of teaching to a test so we can spend hours in faculty meetings digging through numbers that don't really represent who our kids are in the first place? Why did we choose to move backwards when the rest of the state is moving forward? I know that since we've been administering this MAP test, I haven't used a single one of those scores to inform my instruction. Haven't had the opportunity to. Yet I have lost over 2 weeks of teaching time each year, and our district has lost hundreds of thousands of dollars because somewhere, someone couldn't let go of standardized tests. Well, I'm here today to ask you that if MAP comes up for renewal, please remember these words. We don't need it. Our kids don't like it and don't even care about it. And if we do need data that shows how well our students are learning, you only need to look in one place, right here, at their teachers. We have plenty of data in the tests we give them in class that actually have something to do with what they're learning, and we have plenty of data in the grades we keep. On a related note, I only wish those grades were taken more seriously by our district, because here's a question, and it's one I want to leave you with. Why is it that as a district, when a student has failed every single class in 8th grade, we have no problem moving them along to 9th grade? I don't need a standardized test to tell me what message that's sending about how meaningful grades are, and neither do those students. If we really want to do some digging, we need to look at the impact policies like social promotion are having on our kids. If we really want to spend money, maybe we need to look into some programs that can help our students early on so they don't face failure when it will hurt them the most. It's something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Number J2 again, CSEA. Is there somebody from CSEA? Nobody from CSEA? Thank you. Item J3, committee reports. Pool report is nothing. Mr. Zuno, Mr. Ortega or Ms. Zuno, do we have anything to report?
Well, as our superintendent mentioned, the completion of the competition pool and the rec pool will be hopefully by May of 2016. And then Building A, which is the shower and locker building, will be completed by October 2016. That's all I have to report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ortega. Safety Committee.
Okay. At this time, I believe there's, unless Mrs. Ramirez has something different to say, there's nothing to report on the Safety Committee, the LCAP Committee, or the Insurance Committee.
Thank you, Superintendent Ambriz. That was item J3, committee updates and facilities projects update. Do we have something for that? Okay.
Good evening, Board. I'm Jeremy Nielsen, Director of Facilities. I asked to have this put on the agenda just so I can help keep the public and the school board up to information on what's going on at M&O. Excuse me. So a couple of items. The 2 school buses have been ordered with the estimated arrival time late March 2016. Providing it's approved tonight, the 3 buses will be retrofitted with the ACs. We're looking to hopefully get that done during the winter break. All vans and SUVs are in our custody now, so we have them all. The first 6 schools have been DSA approved for the shade structures, so it takes about 6 to 8 weeks of construction time for them to be fabricated and shipped to us. So hopefully before the year's end, we'll be able to start seeing some shade structure being put in the ground. So that's good news. Varner Gym, we're going to start, we're hoping to get everything approved and moving forward so we can start construction on February 1 and have the whole project completed by June 1st. That's going to be done in 2 phases. First phase is going to be the flooring, roofing, and the HVAC. The second phase is going to be the DSA remodel of the bathrooms and the bleachers. Prop 39. Currently, we are with our expenditure plan is with the California Energy Commission for review, so they can approve our expenditure plan and release our funds, so we can start on that. Currently, the boys' locker room at the high school is under construction, so we're remodeling that to install the new lockers that Mr. Calderon Jr. Secured for us. And currently, we're renovating our warehouse over at M&O to accommodate and expedite our inventory, or our lack of inventory. So we're trying to get that revamped so we can get our inventory under wraps. And last week we sent out to all the school sites some winter grass, so that I guess this is the first time this has been done. Like I said, haven't done that in the past, so this time we purchased a bunch of perennial ryegrass so that the school districts can spread it and have green grass throughout the winter. So they help keep the beautification of the school sites. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Nielsen.
Thank you.
Okay, that was our facilities project update. Item J4, board reports. These are informational reports by board members. No action is taken. Ms. Real.
Good evening. Sorry, these are new. Just want to say good evening to all the faculty members, community people from Calexico, board members. I don't have anything to report, but I also want to say, reiterate a little bit what President Calderon said. It's our only meeting this month, so I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving and happy late Veterans Day to everybody who served. I myself am a veteran, so I just want to say congratulations to everybody. And to those who are still out there, let us never forget what they're doing for us and for our freedom. So other than that, I don't have anything else to report.
Thank you, Ms. Real. Ms. Uno.
Thank you. I don't have a board report either, but because it is our only meeting of the month, happy Thanksgiving in advance to everybody. Happy belated Veterans Day, and to our 2 board members that are veterans, Ms. Real and Mr. Calderon, thank you very much for your service. And that's really all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Uno. Ms. Ortega.
Same for me. Just like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, happy Veterans Day, and the same. Thank you, Ms. Real and Mr. Calderon, for your service. That's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ortega. And I don't have that much to say, except for, I know it becomes a 5-minute speech. I recently toured the schools, and because I am going to be on the safety committee, I want to make sure that all of our schools are safe. So I have asked Ms. Ambriz and Ms. Randall to provide an update on what are, not our security measures, but what is it that we're doing for each of the schools, and for those schools that need to, or that we would need to, maybe hire a full-time security guard or proctor in order to stand by the door. So in the next couple of minutes, we're going to hear, not a presentation, but an update on how much that will cost for those schools that need those services. So again, this is our only meeting for the month, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And just like everybody else, Ms. Real, thank you for your service, and Mr. Horton, thank you for your service. So, and I apologize if I'm missing somebody. I don't know everybody, but if you have served, thank you for your service as well. So that's all for board comments. Don't like this microphone. Okay, item J5, accounts payable pre-list. Board members, do you have any questions on the pre-list? Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega? Okay, thank you. Item J6, budget and cash flow update. Ms. Randall?
Good evening, trustees. Okay, before you is our budget and cash flow update, and it's updated as of our revised budget, which took place on September 10th, which was a part of our unaudited actuals. And the middle column there represents any items that have been approved by the board for the unrestricted budget. And then the final column would be revised budget as of October 2015. It's very minimal expenditures here, and those expenditures were just for the forensic psychology textbooks that were approved back on September the 24th for $19,039, which has an impact on our unrestricted general fund ending fund balance, which would reduce it by that dollar amount. And that's the budget and cash flow update for today.
Thank you, and I hope that in the next future, we're going to be talking about a new addition of textbooks, as we have previously discussed.
Like a textbook adoption?
Yes, then.
Yes, I'm sure Ms.
Okay.
Ramirez will be working on that.
Yes, so.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Board members, any questions? No? Okay, that was item J6. J7, emergency repair funding program, prepare program funding. Ms. Randall?
Good evening, trustees. This item is on the agenda as information for the board regarding some additional funding that the district has received. Second, let me find my... The Emergency Repair Program, also known as ERP. What the Emergency Repair Program is, it's a grant and or reimbursement of funding to local education agencies for the cost of repairing or replacing existing building systems or structural components that are broken or not functioning properly and that pose a health and safety threat to students and staff at eligible school sites. Back in 2008, the district applied for these funds, And with the budget crisis and the different things that were going on in the state of California, OPSC, the Office of Public School Construction, they kind of held on to these applications. Well back, as of August the 26, 2015, the State Allocation Board appropriated $796.9 million for these applications. Calexico Unified School District was the recipient of over $12 million of that funding. So right now, I wanted to just make, and we've received the actual cash to date. We've received $12,179,447, which that's great. The thing is, we are not exactly sure what we can spend the money on. Since there were specific applications that were district-wide for all of our elementary schools and our middle school and our high school, we need to know before spending the money exactly what we can spend the money on. So we've contacted OPSC, and they are working on providing us with the detailed summary of what we can spend the funds on. And at a later time, hopefully by our December board meeting, we can have that information and have a presentation for the board as to what we can spend those funds are and spend those funds on, and then how it relates in our facilities master plan and some of the other projects that we have going on in the district, and then get some direction and then move forward with repairing our school sites. So this was just kind of informational. And Jimmy Sanders is here, where he did work on the project and might be able to just shed the types of things that were applied for in those applications. So Jimmy, if you want to just briefly just share with the board your knowledge at this time. But it's just really to just make the board aware that we got $12 million to help repair our facilities. And as soon as we find out what it's for, then we certainly want to repair our facilities. So Jimmy, I'll let you just...
So the type of projects that are included in the ERP specific to the sites that were approved for Calexico Unified include roofing projects, so roofing replacement, plumbing replacement projects, and the plumbing replacement projects include replacement of the existing waste and water lines. So it's designed to, if you have problems where you have the old plumbing lines that continue to fail, you can come in and replace your main trunk lines and then the lateral lines. It includes replacement of the old sub-panels and main electrical panels. It includes repair of AC paving and sidewalks, and also some of the sites include repair of your existing playgrounds when the play fields are not uniformly graded and level. We're able to amend the soil and level the play fields. And so those are the typical types of items that were approved for each site.
So again, we're just waiting for that detail so we can, see what school sites got approved for what items, and then start moving forward on the projects.
So what you're saying is, it's not that we don't know what is it that we need to do. We have the paperwork is there. We just need to make sure that we use it for specifically those reasons.
That is
right?
correct. It's my understanding. I contacted OPSC this week, and they did share with me that you have to spend the funds on how the grant was written, or the application was written.
Exactly.
And
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, and I know we're waiting for documentation, but what happens in the event that, let's say what these monies were directed for, that situation, let's say, has already been repaired?
Mm-hmm.
Can you reimburse the general fund from that? Or we don't know yet? Or?
Great question. So I did also ask that question to OPSC. It's all dependent upon the funding source. So if it was something that was possibly paid from the general fund, then yes, you could. However, if it was paid for with FEMA dollars, CalEMA dollars, and or others like state matching funds, then more than likely, no, you cannot. Those funds will have to be returned, which is kind of why my recommendation would be, let's find out what we can do. Has it already been completed? And then what was the source of funding?
And that is really one of our main questions for OPSC. For example, Jefferson School. Jefferson School was a part of the grant applications, and Jefferson School, as we all know, has been literally rebuilt with mostly CalEMA and FEMA dollars, et cetera. So and I don't know the exact number, but if what the application for Jefferson totaled $1 million or $2 million, well, now we may need to return those $2 million, and now we only have $10 million.
Correct.
So we need to make sure that because if we do spend it and it's not properly spent, we'd have to return the money anyway later. So we need to make sure that the funds are expended appropriately.
Board members, any more questions? No? Okay, thank you, Ms. Randall. That was item J7. Item J8, discussion of information presented regarding bond issuance of facilities.
I may as well just stand up here all night. So this item appears on the agenda, just looking for direction at this point in time. Back on October the 26th, the board had a special board meeting where you wanted me to have presenters come in and give information about the district's bonding capacity and different options about bonding and simply just bond issuance. This is a decision that the board certainly, and a direction that the board definitely wouldn't enter into lightly. And at this point in time, I am just looking for direction as to how do we proceed. Because all members aren't here tonight, my recommendation would be that maybe we could have a special board meeting to discuss that. And if we needed to refer back to the videos of that October 26th meeting, then that might be something we could do. And then let the board give myself and or the superintendent some direction as to the way we'd like to proceed at this point.
Well, the way that what I gathered from that meeting and what I gathered from the discussions that we've had regarding this, at this point, the board is not considering having bonds. I thought these presentations were just to let us know where we stand, not to make a decision on whether we want to bond at this point. Because honestly, we haven't even gotten ourselves out of that hole from Measure J. So at this point, and it is good, don't get me wrong, it was good to hear those presentations because it gives us, at least in my point of view, it gives me an idea of what is it that we can do and what is it, unfortunately, to say that we can't do. Okay, so, but it is good. I think it was good to see or to know the process. I did not know the process. Maybe my fellow board members, maybe they knew the process. I did not know the process of how to go about bonding. So it was good to hear the information. Again, from my own personal point of view, it was good to hear the information. But I don't think at this point we will make a decision to whether we want to bond or not. Not yet.
Okay.
And that's just my perception. That's just my opinion. I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that.
Well, that's all. Well, in regards to it being a consideration of a bond, yes, you're right, but it is a very serious decision, given that we were made aware of what our capacity is, and it doesn't really address the whole problem based on our needs assessment. And then we'd actually have to validate that needs assessment because we had the same situation with the pool. Those numbers might not really reflect what's needed to repair our facilities. But nevertheless, I would entertain a special board meeting with the whole board present to see what it is, what our desire is, and what we could commence or not commence in regards to addressing some of these situations. Because just like the facility we recently visited in India, which was a new high school. I mean, they took 5 years and several bonds to get that built, but they did. I mean, it wasn't something that they went out, they bonded, and it got built. I mean, it took several. But they showed the community that they were serious, that they would perform, and that's why the community continued to support these bonds. So I would be for a special board meeting to see what other options are out there.
Recap, yes, that's true. Ms. Uno or Ms. Real?
Okay, I agree with Mr. Ortega, and I think we should have a special board meeting just to recap a little bit of the presentations that we had that day, and probably come out with either a 5 or 10-year plan or a committee to, like he said, it took NGO 5 years. I mean, I don't know how long it would take Calexico to build a new high school, but we probably should get started with a committee or a 5 or 10-year plan, because we do need one, and I think everybody agrees that Calexico is due for a new high school. So we just need to get the ball rolling some way or another to commence either committee or some way to get it done. So I agree with scheduling a special board meeting, just to recap a little bit of the last meeting we had.
Suno?
I agree. I think we need a special board meeting just to discuss this topic alone, and I definitely agree that we need a very long-term plan. I'd like to maybe see it in combination with these $12 million that we got, and it might be something that we can figure out together, but I think it needs its own time, its own place to discuss.
And then it's not just depend on the bond, there's other funding sources, right? Matching funds.
Right,
and-
state,
and
the
there's energy
modernization,
efficient-
we had, that was a part of a presentation that was on that evening, so
She said
the
that-
60/40 match, so yes.
And when I said that we're not ready to bond, what I meant is that at this point, I don't think we need to make the decision whether to go and bond immediately. However, I like the idea, and I will go with the idea of scheduling a special board meeting just to talk and recap about, like Ms. Real said, maybe we need to create a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, and see where we stand in a couple months, where we stand in a year, okay, and go with that. So I think at this point, we will give direction to the superintendent to schedule a special board meeting for the near future. Thank you. Board members, any more questions? Thank you. And item J9, campus security at the elementary sites. And before that, we have a request for oral communication from Norma Aguilar.
Good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Norma Aguilar, 839 Heber Avenue. Also former employee for Calexico Unified, served as 17 years as campus security guard. Are we there? Yeah. Hence my interest in the topic. Perhaps it doesn't relate to what the exact topic, but I did want to remind the board that perhaps taking also a look at the type of trainings that are being provided for campus security, the length of time, the replacement of security cards have been in place, in regards to how far campus security can go into the community. I know there was discussion at some point, several police chiefs ago, about determining what the area and what type of an agreement there was between the school district and the police department in terms of liability, because we may have our campus security going beyond the scope of we're going from one site to another, so those things have to be covered. I also want to share with you that it was my experience as serving as a campus security. Classified employees have a limited amount of classes that they can take, that they can go in range progression of their salary. And the classes for campus security were limited specifically to security. But say, for example, you have somebody like me, that I was an English major. There wasn't anything in there that would help and encourage, the security to go back to school and so forth. Another thing I wanted to put on your radar is the fact of using your existing campus security as part of your district-wide security. Who better knows your campuses than your security? Who better knows where to check where the weaknesses are in the links in terms of the fences or stuff like that? Who better recognizes the students that come onto campus? So think of those things in terms of district-wide security. and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aguilar. So item J9, campus security at the elementary sites. The reason that I brought this up, it's because I've seen some of the elementaries where, as for example, Kennedy Gardens Elementary, basically you have to go through that door to get inside. So if it were up to me, all our elementaries will be like that, not to keep students inside, but to prevent people from coming into our campuses. It's not to keep the students in, but prevent from other people, strangers, if you may, come into our campuses. So I asked Maria, our superintendent, and I also asked Ms. Randall to provide an idea how much it would cost for us to provide services to those schools that would need a full-time security person or proctor at the door. Okay, so at this point, Ms. Randall, do you have those figures?
I do, and they're listed on the board. There's a copy of the latest approved salary schedule. And I take the median salary, and you're looking at 3 full-time employees. And between the salary and the statutory benefits, you're looking at approximately $200,000 unrestricted general fund money.
I can't see, and I probably can't see it here, it's so small. So I have several questions on this topic, but you said three schools?
For 3 full-time campus security.
Okay, 3 full-time campus security, and then my understanding was this is for all elementary schools?
No, they would, there are 3 elementary schools that Mr. Calderon is requesting a full-time campus security. So this would only affect 3.
Well, let me explain why. We have some elementaries, for example, Mains Elementary. Once 8 o'clock, 8:05, 8:10 hits, they lock the doors. The only way in is through the main office. Okay, and I'm gonna say it, Do Elementary, and the door is wide open. So what I requested is for those schools that have that problem, and because I will say that it's a problem, at least it's a problem for me, for those schools, those elementaries that have those doors that are not manned 100% of the time, to have somebody in that area to man the doors 100% of the time. So in this case, it would be Dewey, Rockwood, and Cesar Chavez.
Okay, but then I feel like we're doing a disservice to the rest of the elementaries because we're not taking them into consideration.
But Mains Elementary, again, they lock the door. The only way that they can go in is through those doors. So, and again, those are the schools that I would like to see immediately. If this board decides to provide proctors for all the elementaries, let's go for it.
Well, you're talking about $200,000 just for 3 securities. Imagine for 7 elementaries.
Does the security or safety of our children have a price?
No.
So,
It's probably not, I don't think a fair statement. I think, we have to consider what things cost. And then I think when you do a cheap shot to say, well, we don't care about the students. Yeah, we do. But we also care about the money that we're spending, and then how, for me, how this came about. Because I'm looking up at safety committees, and there's no update. And I don't know if this was through a needs assessment that we decided or we discovered that these 3 schools had a particular safety impact that needed to be addressed versus the other schools. I don't know the history behind this.
Well, the history behind this is that when I go to those schools, there's nobody at the door, in this case, at Dewey, at Rockwood, and at Cesar Chavez. There's nobody at the door. If I walked in, anybody can walk in. Yes. So not to say, and I hope to God that it never happens to us, but I'd rather spend the money And I know it sounds easy, but it's not easy for me to say it, but I'd rather spend the money and never have to use it than save us a couple of bucks and one day have a tragedy like it has been happening all across the country. We are so close to the border, and we're not only talking about somebody with a gun coming to our campus. We're talking about maybe a parent that has non-custodial rights and go into the classroom and pull the kid out. So that's what I'm talking about. So these things happen. Okay, Dual Elementary, the door is wide open. Cesar Chavez, the door is wide open, and Rockwood Elementary, the door is wide open. So the high school does have a security guard in front of the main entrance, 24/7, right there. Main's Elementary, the doors are closed. The only way to go in is through the main door. Blanchard's, they close that gate, and the only way is to go through the main office. Kiki Camarena, they do have a security guard by the door most of the time. Aurora, somebody is always around. So, but the three schools that I do find that we need to have somebody at the door are those three. So again, and I didn't mean to throw a cheap shot at somebody, but I am not going to go and say that everything is fine, because everything is not fine. Okay, if this board decides that the security, the safety of our children, it has a price, well, then let it be. Okay, we spend money for everything else. Okay, so that is my opinion on that. So I do have, before we continue.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So I have a question, and I don't know if this is something that the district does or not. Is it possible for us to do like a bid and like outsource or for other security companies that might be more financially feasible to have all elementaries covered at the same time instead of just 3, or do we not go that route? Or
So I don't believe the district can do that. That would be taking work away from our classified bargaining unit, since this position does exist as a part of our district. So I don't believe that the district can go that route.
So, okay, any more comments? Okay, I have Veronica Torres to talk on the subject, security guards.
Good evening, board members. My name is Veronica Torres. I'm a teacher at Cesar Chavez. And this item does concern me because for the last 6 years I've been at Cesar Chavez, I have had a concern about safety. And it might not be to the level where you think there's going to be a school shooting or anything, but we've gone through those procedures of lockdown and everything. But I can tell you from my personal experience, last year there was a parent who had no custodial rights, who had a restraining order. He came to my classroom at the end of the day without having to go through the office. Because what Mr. Calderon is trying to tell you is that these 3 schools do not have parents they don't have to go through the office. Our office at Cesar Chavez is not facing the entrance. We have this big wall that it's like this wall right here behind you, and there's the gate right there, and they go in through there. The secretaries, nobody at the office can see them come in, and that's the main entrance. So we're talking about safety. Yes, it is a big safety concern. Unfortunately, we have a large population of parents who are going through custody battles, issues, whatever they may be. And teachers, parents, other staff are exposed to those kinds of situations. I went through that last year. Gratefully, the parent that I faced at my door, I had to kindly tell him, I'm sorry, but you have no custodial rights right now. You have not custodial rights. You have a restraining order at this moment. And I'm sorry that I have to be the one to inform you, but could you please go to the office? That person was kind enough to go to the office. And then a police officer was called to explain the restraining order. But that might not be the situation at all times. So either we have to think of restructuring or changing that wall or doing something to accommodate, to provide a safer environment for our students and our teachers and everyone, you know. But I'm not saying to go spend all this money, but I do want you to understand why Mr. Calderon is saying this. And I didn't even, you know, honestly, I didn't have time to look at the agenda today, so this is just a spur of a moment comment. But I have been through that situation. And if that can happen to me, it can happen to anyone at any of those school sites. But yes, if we're going to think about safety, we're going to have our little committees. We need to start thinking about all these little things. Not little things, actually, they're great things. And they need to be taken into consideration. They're very important. I mean, I didn't have a problem that day, could have been worse. And I'm sure it can happen to anybody. But I just want you to, you know, think about, you know, I don't know what the solution is. It's probably going to cost more money to tear down a wall, put a window, or do something. I don't know. But there are a lot of safety concerns at our district, at the school sites. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on the list to talk about this item is Brisa Huerta Price.
Good evening. Good evening, Board. Brisa Huerta Price, ACES Assets Coordinator. When you ask about full-time security at these sites, are you also considering ACES sites? Because it is my experience that at every single one of these sites, including those that you know, once 4:30, 5 o'clock comes around, offices are closed, and then there's another entrance into the school. And usually it is not manned, and it's usually away from the entrance. So, you know, it is a concern. Security is a concern. I know that at one point, Assets did provide some security, but because of certain audit findings, that had to be taken away. But if you are considering security for the school day, I do urge you to look beyond the school day till 6 o'clock, because we do still have students at every single site at school that we need to make sure that they do stay safe. And usually by that time, by 6 o'clock, especially right now, the time has changed, it's dark. Most of the sites are very dark, very poor lighting, very few people around, so it is a real security concern.
Thank you, Ms. Price. And last but not least, Norma Aguilar on the same item.
Just in regards to hiring 2 or 3 or more full-time security, it'd be my recommendation to this board to look into assessing what the safety needs are at each school site. And sometimes it could be something as simple as the way policy is handled. I remember at one point, we had complaints when I was on the school board. We had complaints from parents from Rockwood because it was the security was so tight. The gates were closed. So if they're open now, then it's because they're being allowed to be open. If you have security concerns with Cesar Chavez, again, same kind of issue came up previously, and in fact, we had someone who thought it was funny to slide a card and allow themselves in, even when the gates were closed at Cesar Chavez. So rather than taking a knee-jerk approach and you're saying, okay, we need 3 full-time security guards at these 3 school sites, I think what you need to do is need to assess what are the needs from each school site and administer that, you know, maybe for that $200,000 or $250,000 that you can make those repairs and adjustments so that everybody's needs are served. And yes, I can tell you that the after-school program, that is also a real liability. I can tell you because at 6 o'clock or 6:30, people are gone. And sometimes you still have students out there waiting for parents to be picked up. And that's a liability. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aguilar. And Alejandra Limon.
Alejandra Limon, migrant coordinator, but also ex-administrator at Cesar Chavez Elementary School. And there's two ways you can look at this. Yes, it's wonderful if they can get a proctor there because it is needed, especially during any time from 3 to 6. It's a key time. But the issue with Cesar Chavez is that if you close the front gate, you have no access in for any of the public to come into the office. What has been proposed is perhaps making a gate that directs the parents directly into the office. You have to restructure it somehow and make a door. But for example, you can create a gate from the cafeteria wall over to the office, take out one of the windows and create an entryway directly into the office, forcing whoever comes in into the office, which is one of the main issues. Because during the morning, parents come in, drop off their kids, there's security out there, there's noon duty aides, and so there's people that are vigilant. But during the day, it's just hard. You can't see who's coming in. I've worked at dual school, it's exactly the same issue. If you put a fence in and direct the parents into the main office, you have the same thing. Rockwood, I've worked at Rockwood, it's exactly the same issue. There you have to kind of maneuver it a little bit more and make a pathway. So there's either looking at it as a structural or looking at it as personnel. You know, it would have to be weighed in. But either way, you definitely have an issue with people just coming on campus.
Thank you, Ms. Limon. And again, this is just a starter for our security measures. So again, we can talk about that, and at that point, if we have maybe a special board meeting, then we can come up with other ideas. So, but I think the issue needs to be brought up and something needs to be done about it. So if there's no more questions or concerns, I would like to take at this point a 5-minute break. Thank you. We will be back at 8:15. Thank you. From our break. So we are going to go item K, action items, consideration and action approval of the following items. Item K1, memorandum of understanding between the Calexico Unified School District and the Imperial County Office of Education for English Language Development Training.
This item is on here at the request of our Ed Services team.
Hold on.
Time out. Okay. So K1 is on our agenda at the request of our Ed Services team, that ICUE personnel can come in to train our staff as a trainer of trainers model in preparation for our district-wide staff development to be held on January 4th, 2016. This year, we've been working very closely with Imperial County Office of Education, and our focus continues to be the development of our English and promotion of our English language learners in their academic growth. And so we are definitely requesting that the board support this concept.
Okay, so we have item K1. Is there a motion to approve K1?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. If no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0, voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K2, first reading of waiver of second reading and to adopt revised board policy 9100 organization.
And this item is on our agenda. It's a board bylaw revision recommended by CSBA, a first reading and waiver of second reading. First of all, for the board, obviously to have its reorganization of board and election of officers. And there's two options with regards to the reorganization that usually takes place in December. The first option is to leave it as is, our current process, or option two, that the board shall each year elect its entire slate of officers, and no board member shall serve more than whatever time determined if that's the option that you choose. So this is up for your perusal, discussion, and waiver of a second reading if adopted.
And Maria, how did this come about?
This is a recommendation from CSBA.
Thank you. So in front of us, we have two options. Option number one is to leave it as is, and now option number two is to go each year and select any of the board members to be part of the, to be president and vice president and clerk of the board, and also with the option of say how many consecutive years we can have those people serve in those positions. Any opinions, or is there somebody that would like to make a motion?
I think what we currently have is working, is my opinion.
Okay, so we have Mr. Ortega, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, motion to leave the policy as is.
Option number one?
Is that one?
Yeah, that will be number one.
Where is this option one?
If you go all the way to the bottom.
It's what we have now.
So the current.
The current.
Yeah.
So I second to leave option number one, what we currently have.
So there's a motion by Mr. Ortega, there's a second by Ms. Real. Any comments or concerns? No? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 4-0, voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K3, second reading and adopt revised board policy 5148.2 before and after school programs and administrative regulation 5148.2 before and after school programs. Maria?
And this, I believe, is also an item that's coming back. We had the first reading at a previous meeting, and this is now the second reading for this item.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. If there's no further questions or concerns, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0, voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K4, resolution for budget and cash transfers fiscal year 2015 and 16.
This is an annual resolution that we put in place in the event that the funds needed, that funds need to be transferred between accounts to meet our financial obligations, such as payroll, and that the superintendent or assistant superintendent of business may legally be able to move those funds between accounts. Any such transfers, however, should that take place, need to be paid back to the general fund prior to the closing of the books for the fiscal year. And this is an annual resolution that normally takes place.
So we have item K4 in front of us. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
So what you're saying is this gets done annually? It's something that's been
That is
done
correct.
before. Okay, second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. Further questions or comments? If none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0, voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K5, resolution regarding the naming of the pool complex. And again, we have this item in front of us. I am not going to make a long speech regarding this. However, let me just say that this is a school board. This is not a place to be calling the shots because you have people that want things done a certain way. Okay? If we want to go play politics, then we can go somewhere else. This is for the students. My main concern is that student right there. Okay? Not anybody else. Okay? With that said, I have to respect what the previous board did, because I don't want in 5 years for a new board to come in and do something that I did. Okay? So there are different ways that we can do this, but if I may, I would like to make a motion to name the pool complex the Bulldog Aquatic Center Margarita de Necochea Memorial Pool Complex. That will be my motion to name this. Second.
Technically, the motion would be to adopt the resolution using item option 3 as a name.
Okay. Again?
Oh, you have a different one. We have a different one. He's option 1.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So your resolution would be to adopt option 1.
Okay.
He has a different.
Option 1?
Well,
The way he read
yeah, I
it.
have,
Oh, is
I
it?
I have a
Mine's
different,
different.
I have a
Okay.
different version.
I have a different one. Do you have like a sample or maybe? Can I see?
see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, so it's either 1, 2, and 3, my motion would be to go with number 3, which is the Bulldog Aquatic Center, Margarita de Necochea Memorial Complex. So that will be my motion to approve that one. Is there a second? The motion dies for the lack of second. Is that a different motion?
Okay, I just want to address something really quick to the family of the student. I don't know if they want me to do it in English or Spanish, whatever their preference is. I do just want to make a clarification. I know they came up here speaking that they saw in the paper that we were going to completely take off the name, and I do just want to make a statement that that was never in consideration for us to ever take off the name that your daughter won in the competition. We've always honored her, and the possibility of us bringing this into the agenda is to come and consolidate the names and honoring both parties, but it was never any of us in the board, well, I'm going to say myself, for us to ever take away the name that your daughter won in the competition. I just want to make that clarification because when you guys came up here, you guys were saying that in the paper, they stated something else. We, or myself, never said we were going to change the name in any sort of way. And the same thing goes to for the family. What I want to say is, how could we change Bulldog Aquatic Center to Calexico Bulldog Aquatic Center? That's like changing Margarita de Necochea to Nicole de Necochea. It's like changing her name. And I think that was never an option for any of us. So I do want to make that clarification. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say, and I do want to make a motion for option 2.
I want to reiterate what Ms. Real said. I think in respect to the family, to the student who participated in the contest and whom we celebrated, as well as the life of Ms. Margarita de Necochea, whose life has been celebrated and it continues to be celebrated. She was a member of this community, and her legacy has lived on here with a lot of people that remember her fondly. And I think when you get families involved, it's very emotional, and I don't know that at any point you can go back and say, well, please act a certain way or whatnot. It has been a very emotional topic for everybody involved. But again, I want to reiterate what my colleague Ms. Real said. It has always, I think, been our intent to honor everybody, and I know you want to make a motion, so I'll leave it to you.
Okay. So I don't know if anybody seconds my motion to go with option 2, which is Margarita de Necochea Bulldog Aquatic Center.
I would second.
We have a motion to go with number 2 and a second by Ms. Uno. If no further questions or comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 No. Motion passes 3-1. Voting in favor are Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, and Mr. Ortega. Voting against is myself, Mr. Calderon. And I apologize. Politics won in this case. So, okay. So that's it for item J or K5.
I'm sorry, I just have to say
No,
something
the item
really
is
quick.
closed. The item is closed.
Okay,
So-
well, it's unfair for you to say that it's politics. When the
It is
parents,
politics.
When the parents and the student came up here, they said they were fine if we were honoring both parties, and that's what we're doing.
It is politics.
I don't think she is against what we're doing up here. We're honoring both families.
Yeah.
I don't think
So-
we're being unfair in any sort of way. We're not changing the name of the contest that she won. We're not changing the name of the family. I think we're all being fair up here. For you to say it's politics, I just don't agree.
Well, that's
We
your
could go- we could
that's
move
your
on to the
opinion.
next one now.
No, that's your opinion. So that was item K5. Item K6, resolution earmarking additional funds for the swimming pool project.
Okay, this resolution is on the board agenda for your review and your approval. Currently, with the funding for our pool facility, there is approximately a shortfall of about $218,000, and we are requesting that the board approve earmarking approximately $550,000 in the general fund in the event that we are short in covering all pool-related expenses with regards to its construction. We don't think that we'll need more than 218, but we just want to create a cushion within the general fund earmark if that is the will of the board. We have in the past meetings, et cetera, with the pool committee, with our former city manager, Richard Warren, he made it very clear then, and I know that it's still the same situation with our new interim city manager, Mr. Fenley, that really the city cannot continue to put any more funds into the pool project, and at this point, our district needs to take on that responsibility. So we are asking that the board earmark certain funds in our general fund in the event that we do need to seek more funds to cover the expenses.
I have some questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm looking at that, I'm trying to look at it here, and it has a second item, Calexico USD, FEMA funds, $400,000. And I've asked before, but I'm trying to wrap my head around the answers I've received. So on here, seemingly we have FEMA funds, and I think I asked Mr. Calderon, he said he spoke to you, and you said we do have FEMA funds. Or we do have maybe the original FEMA funds that we received, $400,000. So I remembered having several meetings where we had approved paying things, and it was listed under FEMA. And we've had conversations where that money was spent already. And so I went back and was looking, and there's a board meeting from November 12, 2013. At that meeting, the board approved Jimmy Sanders, architect for the Calexico High School swimming pool. The fiscal impact of that estimated cost was $452,960 for the plans of the pool. The total FEMA monies allotted, that at least what was reported to us at that meeting, was $417,752. In the presentation that we got that day at that meeting, Cito actually was doing the math as the meeting was going on. He was subtracting the expenses that up to that date we had been told had been paid from those FEMA funds. Carolina, and I'm not remembering her last name, and I apologize, a very nice lady that from the accounting department, actually got up and then reminded us of additional things that had, additional fees that had been paid from FEMA funds. So there was the demolition fee of $77,000. The DSA, I'm guessing, was a filing fee of $37,000, encroachment fee or a permit of $1,700, the geo study for $10,000, and a change order for $7,000. And what prompted this was that invoice from Sanders that we received in the amount of $212,891. So at that meeting, we were approving his contract because he billed us for $212,000 at $212,891,000. There was also talk of the funding code for the money that we were short from FEMA, and that funding code was 0072. So that contract passed. It was 4-1. Voting in favor was Ruth Duarte, Ciro, Ms. Aguilar, and Mr. Ortega. I actually voted against it. A meeting 2 years later, on August 10th, 2015, Mr. Calderon Jr. made reference to paying Sanders $500,000. Mr. Nielsen was here at that meeting talking about how we were going to see a savings from about $1.5 to $2 million after bidding out separately. And then Ms. Randall, you were up here, and I asked you at that meeting if we had used any general fund money to pay for any of the project. You said no, that we hadn't. We hadn't used any general dollars to pay for that project. In the pool committee where I was last, you said no, we paid all of these fees from general fund money. So FEMA money's still there. So I'm very conflicted as to what is this FEMA money still there? Is it not? And I'd like to see that. I'd like to see, because we've paid these things, maybe more. This is what I found from the videos and from minutes from meetings that we've had since I've been on the board, where I've been under the impression that we spent this $500,000 already.
So we have spent $526,996 already. As noted in the budget there. I did go back and research those expenditures, and they were not paid with FEMA dollars. They were paid with unrestricted general fund dollars. So when you ask me, are the FEMA funds still available? Yes, they are.
And so then when I asked you if we had spent general fund money, and you said no, we hadn't.
Well, probably because I looked at the board item that says it was going to be FEMA dollars. But once Mr. Calderon did contact me, we did do a little bit of research, and it was determined that we spent general fund money versus the FEMA dollars.
But Ms. Randall, we had, if it was my recollection, I mean, just like hers, that's why we had that money to make, I mean, I know it doesn't matter.
That
because
we were approving
Yes.
paying these things with this FEMA money because we didn't have money. We were like in a budget crisis, and we had this $500,000, and that's what we had to pay for these expenditures, for the fee. I'm sorry, for the pool. So when Sanders' contract came up, and I was like, boy, it's just, we're going to pay that from the FEMA money. That was always the conversation that was had.
Okay. I don't really know exactly how to answer your question. I was not here at that board meeting. You mentioned Mrs. Carolina was here.
Yeah, she stood up and said that there have been other things that have been additional fees, and then she listed them. So we were subtracting, and we were already short. We were like done with the $417,000 from FEMA. And the conversation was all, it's FEMA money, and we were subtracting, and no one said any different. No one said, don't subtract it from FEMA, it's general fund. So I'm confused. I'm confused because I've thought for the last 3 years that this money no longer existed, that it was spent.
So we can look at this, well, this is my take on it. So currently, we have spent $526,996. So the FEMA money is deposited in it's in the unrestricted general fund. So it really is in the same place. So we can call it unrestricted general fund or FEMA money, either one of the two. So if we've already spent the FEMA, $400,000 in FEMA, fine. The difference is going to come out of the unrestricted general fund. So other than we're over budget on the project, and we can call it FEMA, we can call it unrestricted general fund. I don't really know exactly how you want me to answer the question, in the sense that the expenditures themselves at that particular point in time, I wasn't here. They were paid out of the unrestricted general fund, which would mean that the FEMA dollars
Which contained the FEMA dollars. So
that is correct.
when we're being told that it's FEMA dollars, and we're approving it that way, I just want to make that clarification, because that's how we're approving it. At least that's what I thought our understanding was, and Ms. Aguilar is no longer on the board, but I'm not trying to speak for them, but I would imagine that was everybody's understanding, that we were using those monies. Where I have then the conflict is that it's still listed here then as FEMA funds that we still have, but they have been spent. Whether in accounting purposes, you put them all in the same pot. I think for transparency purposes, I feel like they have been spent and then some. So we've taken also from the general fund, or at some point, one of these funds is going to pay us back for You said we spent 520 something, $526,000. We had 417,000 from FEMA, so we're 100 and something, 100,000 something.
Right.
Short already.
So we're, right, and at the end of the project, based on the estimates, we're totally going to be overall $744,000 short.
Now my question is those funds, those FEMA funds, are they in the general fund? Can we transfer them? If they're in the general fund, can we transfer them to the general fund to kind of offset?
So it's going to end up being the exact same. Nothing about the cost or the revenue that we have is going to change.
No, but I see her point. We basically what I would like to be seen done is to transfer those funds, and now that way
they're there. It's the same. They're in the same place.
Okay, so they understand the general fund.
Yes.
Just a different line item.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they've been spent. They've been back then. I mean, that's what we used. So when we approved that from FEMA dollars, from that line item.
So when the payments were made, no, they were not paid out of that line item, which would be 0072, the resource, which is an unrestricted. They were paid out of 0000, which is unrestricted general fund. The way we keep track of it in our accounting system is we give it the 0072, which lets us know it's FEMA dollars. But it's all unrestricted general fund.
Well, then can't you argue that all of this here, if we had it, if the city gave us the Measure H money, if they gave us the Measure H bond, if they gave us the Parks and Rec, you'd put it all under general fund, and then we just spend.
Well, not necessarily, because the way that these go, we have to be reimbursed for those. So yes, the cost would come up front, out of the unrestricted general fund, and then we would reimburse the unrestricted
So
general
why wasn't that the process then with the FEMA money?
Because
that's
we had
what we're
the
also
FEMA money
told.
in our account already.
That
I don't know
we
why,
reimburse ourselves.
whoever did the requisitions at that time, I don't know why they didn't use the FEMA resource, the 0072. I can't answer to that, because I don't know, because I didn't do it. I don't know. But again, it's all the same pot of money, the unrestricted general fund. And as a method of keeping track and filling out the closeout reports for FEMA, that's why we keep it in 0072.
I still am gonna stick to, we approved it as being coming out from FEMA, from the $417,000 that we were told we had, and that's how we approved paying Sanders' bill and $212,000 and all of these other fees. And it just is not going to make sense to me to have it here showing as if we have this money, when I feel that with the way we approved it, it was with these dollars.
So an easy fix to that could just simply be to change the budget. If you'd like the budget to reflect Calexico Unified School District unrestricted general fund, it could be a fix that way too, which their FEMA can then disappear off of this budget.
No, because then it's just like I'm gonna try to delude myself or convince myself that it's some other way. We approved it this way with the assumption that we were spending FEMA dollars, not general fund dollars. I asked the question back in August. I said, we haven't used general fund dollars for any of this project. You assured me that we hadn't. So I thought, okay, I'm not kind of going crazy here. We have spent the FEMA money.
Okay, Ms. Suno, so what is the outcome that you would like to see on this?
I want to make sure that this money, that we're not looking at it as an actual resource that we have. And if we're going to allocate general fund dollars, that it's going to be in that amount of with an additional, whatever we're short. We're short from these estimates, almost $200,000. And I don't know if that's inclusive here in what you said we're short, 744. God, I have such a hard time seeing this. And then are we adding another contingency fee? I don't know where I saw that in some minutes. So the recommendation is that we earmark, where's the amount that we're recommending? $217,000?
$550,000.
Where is that? 500.
Which is a little bit over double what we're projecting to be over at this point in time.
Now, Mike, let me ask you Ms. Randall, at the very end of this report, you said total deficit of total pool construction project. You said total budget $7,558,398 minus 526. Why minus the 526?
Because those expenditures have already been paid out of the unrestricted general fund.
Oh.
So if you look at the very last line, it says total deficit for remaining construction on the project. And at this particular point in time, it's $217,642.
And that is, and I'm sorry, I'm a little slow with this, but that is those 526 where we thought that the majority had been paid with FEMA money, it was paid out of general fund.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so that's why if we do that, then that's how you come up with 200 and something?
That is correct.
Okay. Saying we are allocating double the amount of that.
Correct.
Okay, just in case.
Just in case.
And this allocation would be to cover what exactly?
So back on 10/15, the board approved the remaining bid packages, which were 1 through 12 and 14, and these are the actual bids that came in. So these are the dollar amounts. It's the balance of Nielsen Construction, just everything associated with the project that has been approved.
The miscellaneous contingency, 3%. We had already approved in one of the packages, the original construction package, a 5%. The $7 million included already a 5% contingency that we approved. We're being asked to approve an additional 3.
Well, from my understanding, that is what was, the 3% was what was approved as a part of the
one of the package?
The package. And even with that, with the elevated costs of construction, we're still short $217,642.
No, I think the original, the 7 million had a 5% contingency.
Well, I'd have to double check, but that's what's in the packages as of.
The original had, I'm pretty sure, a 5% contingency, and then this was an additional 3% contingency. And I think we saw that the 5%, according to a report Mr. Sanders gave us, it wasn't enough.
So you're seeing trust the 5 and additional 3?
Right, that's the way I'm seeing it. So now, yeah, I'd have to go back and look at all of that.
So we're just earmarking this money just in case, even though our projected estimates are only half of that. So, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, this is to cover the deficit as we know it today. So
Exactly.
207, and then if there is any additional, that's.
Okay. That's how it goes. Okay. Okay. Board members, any more concerns or questions? Ms. Rapp? Ms. Uno? Mr. Ortega?
I think the clarification she just wanted was that if we were charged the 5 and then additionally 3, or did it go from 5 to 3 with the new bid packages?
I don't have that information right here. This is, the latest, greatest information I have is the 3%, so that's why I listed it here.
Okay, is there a motion to approve K6?
So I know, here I'm going to be a stickler again. And in the pool committee budget update that we had a meeting, I think it was October 15th. And I don't know who wrote notes on, I don't know if it was you or you, but somebody wrote notes on the budget that we had, and then they circled a line item, 339,720. And if you follow it, it says Architecture and Engineering, Sanders, Inc., 339,720, and then it has a note on the side, it says paid from FEMA. And then new expense, Inspector Heartline, $176,000. I don't know who wrote these other notes. I mean, I could tell where my notes are because I used a green pen. Somebody else had notes on these copies that I got. Do you remember this? You had them, right?
Yeah, I remember the details.
I have the original contract from Mr. Stan. I don't have the original, I'm sorry, I have a copy, where we have a project contingency of 5%, and then the 3% that we're adding, and I remember the question being from who's charging us this 3%? Just miscellaneous contingency, 3%, and then we approved a 5% contingency in the amount of $304,533,000. So now we're looking at 8. That's the contract, the breakdown. And then I have minutes from Calexico Unified School meeting from November 12, 2013. We have fiscal impact of FEMA, $7,500, and that was for a change order. Calexico High School swimming pool demolition project, pyramid construction and aggregates. Another FEMA, I have copies from another meeting from also November 12, 2013. Total FEMA monies allotted, $417,000. This was for the recommendation of Jimmy Sanders, architect. I just want to feel comfortable that we're not saying we have still $400,000 from FEMA when I feel like we've approved things that were listed as being paid from FEMA. And then we're going to earmark any amount of money. I mean, I'm happy to earmark some money that we make sure that it's earmarked very specifically for certain things, not just, you know, things get kind of crazy and wow, we just have this money. That it can go from $7 million to $9 million because we earmarked this money, that we monitor that. Anyways, those are my concerns.
Okay, any more questions? So, is there a motion to approve this money? K6? Or is it a motion not to approve?
I'm not going to motion not to approve. I need more information. I want clarification on the FEMA money. I'm not comfortable with the information I got. I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, I'm happy to go visit you and see you in your office, and maybe that would be better, and so I can wrap my head around this and get some background, but
So, what we
I'm
can-
happy to table it.
What we can do is we can table it and we can talk to Ms. Randall and Ms. Ambris and see what's going on and to find out what happened in that period of time. So is there a motion to table this item then?
Motion to.
There's a motion to table the item by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
No, second.
There's a second by Ms. Zuno. If no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor are Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. So, K7, appointment of Jose Guillen as a classified employees appointee to the Personnel Commission of Calexico Unified School District. Said appointment to be effective December 1st.
And this is an item that was brought forth to you by CSEA for board approval, that Mr. Jose Guillen be there approved by the board as their association's recommended appointee to the Personnel Commission.
Okay, so we have item K7. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. If no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Those in favor are Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K8, authorization to seek proposals for E-rate services for the 2016-17, there's a school year or calendar year? School year?
I believe it's their fiscal year.
Fiscal year, okay.
And so this is a yearly application, and for example, I believe right now the percentage is 80-20, so if the application happens to be approved for E-rate services, our district would only be responsible for 20% of the costs that come with our communication devices, et cetera.
Okay, so we have K8 in front of us. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion by Ms. Zuno. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. No further questions or comments. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K9, fleet service specialist to retrofit and install transit air conditioning systems in 3 Calexico Unified School District student buses.
Make a motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Real. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. If no further questions or comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K10, first reading of revised administrative regulations 4119.11, 4219.11, 4319.11, sexual harassment.
And this board policy administrative regulation revision is requested by our Human Resources Department for first reading. The language is recommended by CSBA for addition to the board policy and administrative regulation relating to sexual harassment.
Okay.
And it's a first reading.
So, and it's recommended by CSBA? Mario? Recommended by CSBA, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
Yeah. Motion to approve.
This is just for administrative regulation, I'm sorry, not for board policy.
Okay.
A question, Maria, on the training portion, which I think is page 2. Superintendent or designee shall ensure that all employees receive training regarding the district's policy when hired and periodically thereafter. Is there not a specific date? I thought it was annually. So would we not, I mean, periodically seems kind of open-ended.
Is this the wording that CSBA recommended?
Yes, all this language is recommended by CSBA. Now, there's the language that you're referring to, Ms. Zuno, That one is for supervisory employees, and that one takes place every 2 years, and the board is also included as part of that, and you're invited to those trainings. Every single one of our administrators here goes to those trainings. Those are specifically every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
For supervisory training.
So we can't put that specifically here. We can put when hired and 2 years thereafter instead of periodically.
It does mention at the last part of that page, the superintendent or designee shall retain for at least 2 years the record of any training provided to supervisory employees.
Oh, every 2 years. Right, so what it looks like to me is the part that isn't highlighted is the part that we're trying to change with the top that's highlighted, because they're kind of, then it'd be redundant.
Everything in red is new language.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Adding to what is in black, right?
Correct.
Okay.
What
So it's
what is
just
in
an
black is
addition.
existing, it's already there.
Then once again, this is being recommended word by word by CSBA.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we're not going to remove the item that's not in red, right, which is kind of in the middle of them.
That's right, that was
If it's not struck out, that means it
It
stays.
stays, okay.
Black and red.
So nothing's being struck out, we're just adding at this point.
Okay.
There a motion to approve?
I already made a motion.
You made a motion? Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Real. There's a motion by Ms. Real and there's a second by Mr. Ortega. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K11, first reading of revised board policy and administrative regulations 4154, 4254, 4354, health and welfare benefits.
And this is also being brought forth for approval by our Department of Human Resources on the recommendation of CSBA with regards to health and welfare benefits, in particular for the Affordable Care Act.
Oh, okay.
And it's all the language that's in red is what would be added.
This will be the Obamacare, right? Okay. Is there a motion to approve this revision? Oh, boy, this is for the first reading. So,
Motion to approve. Second.
okay, so there's a motion by Mr. Ortega and there's a second by Ms. Real. You know, if there are any more comments or questions? If none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 4-0, voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K12, first reading of revised board policy and administrative regulations E1312.4, Williams Uniform Complaint Procedures.
And this is actually the revision of just administrative regulation, not board policy. Also on, this is from the Art Services Department, also on the recommendation of CSBA for addition to the administrative regulation relating to Williams Uniform Complaint Procedures. And I think in particular it's to strike out the language with reference to the California High School exit exam.
Hours. At this point, I would like to make a motion to extend this meeting until 9:30. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor are Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. I am sorry for interrupt in that way. Okay, so again, K12.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Zuno. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K13, first reading of new board policy 6170.1, transitional kinder.
And this is also to add language to our board policy and administrative regulation regarding transitional kinder on the recommendation of CSBA.
And this is basically to say that if a student turns 5 anywhere during the school year, they should be allowed to be in TK, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so that's the policy.
Make a motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Real. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Uno?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. All those voting in favor are Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Ms. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. K14, approval of variable term waiver for Cesar Carreño for 2015-2016 school year.
I have questions on, and maybe like those next 1, 2, 3, 4,
Mr. Gonzalez?
5, I think they're all,
Yeah, they're all the
sort
same.
of the same.
Yeah.
And maybe you won't be able to answer all my questions here because it's going to be personnel, but these are all counseling positions, correct?
Correct.
And we're being asked to waive the fact that these folks don't have a certain type of, I want to call it a credential, but it might be a different word.
They do have a credential. They have a PPS credential in the area of psychology. The area where they don't have the credential is in PPS counseling. And so with these particular individuals, we did do the credential evaluation for all of them. In doing the credential evaluation for all of them, because they do have a psychology PPS, which is very rigorous type of credential that they hold, and there is counseling that is part of that particular credential. Really what it would take for them to get clearance or a full credential would be very minimal according to the county, where it would be a matter of them going back to the university and probably be a certain amount of hours or a course or two that they would have to take in order to get a full PPS counseling credential. However, when it comes to credential, they do hold a credential, just not
in the area of counseling, right? Very specific to what we want them to do, or in the area we're wanting them
That
to
is correct.
serve.
Correct. However, they do qualify for an authorization at this point, and we have determined that they do qualify for that. And in order for them to be given that authorization, the board would, this is why we're bringing this recommendation to the board, to approve a variable term waiver in order for them to be able to get the authorization, for them to be able to complete the course or two that they need in order for them to get that clearance for that PPS counseling credential.
So when we established there was a need, a counseling need at wherever these folks are going, and we open up the position, do we not say, one of the requirements to have PPS in counseling?
We do.
And did we not get a pool of those folks that would have been eligible so that they come in directly ready to serve the students in the area that we want them to serve? Number one. Number two, then if these folks then seem to, by the district standards, have proven some level of capacity beyond maybe some people that maybe came in with PPS counseling in their experience, in their history, in their educational background. These folks contain something maybe above and beyond that, where we're being asked to make special considerations for them by allowing them a waiver, and then what? Are they going to get it? Do they have a specific time to get it? And I mean, because we seem to be really rigorous with teachers, right? We don't go to the college and say, well, you're kind of ready and we'll take you, or
Right.
we don't go to med school and go see one of them. We probably go to a doctor and kind of, go with somebody that has the background.
Ms. Uno, when we, Mr. Gonzalez, when we counselors and school psychologists, we start our program, and as school counselors. Everybody starts as a school counselor. When we are done in the 1.5, 2-year program for the school counseling, the school psychologists choose to take 7 or 8 more classes, and then they qualify, and then they become a school psychologist. So that's the route that they take. So in this case, you're talking about a medical doctor that wants to be a neurologist. Well, it's the same thing. You have to become first a medical doctor to become a neurologist. Same thing with a school psychologist. A school psychologist has to become a school counselor or take the classes to become a school counselor, and then he or she goes above and beyond 7 or 8 more classes.
To get us to specialize.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm following you. So are we saying then that these folks don't have that specialty, they don't have the counseling part, we're being asked to waive it?
Well,
So my question
what
is,
ended up happening was, like Mr. Calderon mentions, they took obviously a specific path, and their path was the psychology, and so that's what the route that they took at the time. Doesn't mean that they can't go back and get the authorization in the counseling, because they've already completed coursework. And so part of us doing the credential evaluation to see if they would even qualify for that is to ensure that we're not going to offer employment to somebody that, is not going to be able to have that full credential. You asked a very important question in regards to, does this individual, is there a time frame? And the answer is absolutely yes. In the 1 year that these individuals will be given this waiver, if they don't complete the requirements in order for them to get that PPS counseling credential, then they're done. And so it really puts us in a good position, because here we have individuals who are highly qualified, who have psychology background, social work, clinical license background, and yet they only need to do a few courses or hours in order for them to get that PPS credential. So in the long run, I think we benefit as a district, because we'll have employees that are already highly qualified in one area, but they'll also have the PPS counseling credential, which is what we want them to make sure that they have.
so, okay, so they have 1 year?
Correct.
They have
And in 1 year, if they don't finish, then they're done.
I see. Okay, thank you.
And that is for all
Clarifying.
3,
Correct.
the school psychologist and the MSW, the social worker.
Yes.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve K14?
Yeah, there's a motion to approve K14, 15, and 16.
That's one at a time.
Oh, those are all the same, so. Motion to approve.
K14, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0, voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K15, approval of variable return waiver for Alejandra Segura for 2015-2016 school year. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K16, approval of variable term waiver for Eva V. Lara for the 2015-2016 school year. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Ms. Real. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Ortega. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Zuno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K17, approval of variable term waiver for Frank Montaño for the 2015-2016 school year. Okay, so this is not the same. This is for something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, one of the things we do know that finding mathematics teachers is incredibly difficult. And so this particular candidate, Mr. Frank Montaño, does qualify for a math authorization, specifically for Willie Moreno Junior High School. So he does come highly recommended by the administrator and the panel. And again, we have done the credential evaluation, and he does qualify for an authorization at this point.
Okay. And same thing, same rules apply. He has 1 year, and after that 1 year, right?
Right.
Okay. Just a personal note, and I understand the need for all these waivers. However, we need to go and make sure that we try to recruit people with the right credentials. Okay. I'm not saying that we're watering down the subject, but I know they're out there. Okay? So, is there a motion to approve K-17?
I made a motion. Second.
There's a motion by Ms. Uno, there's a second by Ms. Real. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0, voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K-18, quarterly report on Williams Uniform Complaints, October 2015. Okay, so Ms. Ambriz is saying that there are no complaints filed. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. All those in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item K-19, Certificate Employment Report. Is there a motion to approve K-19, Certificate Employment Report?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Real. If no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0, voting in favor of Ms. Real. Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Okay, Maria. Item K-20, Classified Employment Report. Hold on, just give me 1 second. ¿Qué pasó? There. Okay, so item K-20, Classified Employment Report. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve item K-20?
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Ortega. I will second that motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor, Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item L, reconvene to earlier closed session. We are not going to reconvene to closed session again. Item M, we reconvene to open session. We're back. Item N, announcement of actions taken in closed session. There were no items voted in closed session. Item O, Student Discipline Education Code Section 48918. Action upon the recommendation of Student Discipline Case Number 151601. The motion would be to approve.
The motion would be to approve the findings and recommendations.
The findings and recommendation and delete item 6
And add number 7.
and add item number 7. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve by Mr. Ortega. I will second the motion by Mr. Calderon. If no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Abstain.
Ms. Una is abstaining, so motion passes 3-0. Voting in favor are Ms. Real, Ms. Ortega, myself, Mr. Calderon, with Ms. Uno abstaining from voting. And item P, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
There's a motion to adjourn by Ms. Real. Is there a second? There's a second by Mr. Ortega. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor of Ms. Real, Ms. Uno, Mr. Ortega, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.